Hello, Paul Pluta channel, the leading watch channel on YouTube. Paul Pluta doesn't do shit for free. Remember, like, subscribe, tell your friends, and get a paid review. Get a paid review. Also, $50 US, you can talk to Archie for an hour on the blower. The phone, the bone and dog. Come on, work with me, not against me. Paid reviews. Paid review request from The American. Hi Archie, this is a paid review from The American. I'm in my early 20s, just graduated, and I'm slowly moving up the corporate ladder. I love your channel, and my favorite phase of yours is work with me, not against me. I say it often now. I wanted you to review my current two-piece collection, compact collection, and also give me thoughts, perhaps other suggestions on my next two milestone pieces. Sent you a bit extra for the paid review because those two pieces are a bit off the beaten path and require more of your time to think about it. Please find attached pictures to the video so the punters can see it. My current collection consists of, drum roll, Rolex Submariner 5513L serial number from 1989. Number 2, Omega Speedmaster Man on the Moon. The Omega is a 3594, the manual wind Broad Arrow CK15 re-edition, but I changed the dial to an original OEM Omega Panda Mitsukoshi dial and the bezel to the usual black one. I hope you've kept the originals because you've got to be able to slot those babies back in. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Now, my current thought is to stick with just these two pieces until I can get until I can get the last two pieces for life. Here's my two milestone pieces. I would only get these when I had enough coin to not worry about resale. First, I would get an AP Royal Oak 15202BA, jumbo in yellow gold with blue dial. My last piece for life would be an IWC Portuguese Grand Complication in platinum. It's a perpetual calendar chrono minute repeater. What do you think of my current collection and my possible last two watches for life? Okie dokie. I gotta tell you, this is from Christopher. The American, I should say. The American. Okay, The American. Wowzers, in your early 20s. My God, you've really hit it on the head. I gotta tell you, what do I think of your 5513L serial number? It makes me sick! It makes me sick because I had, in 2005, I had a 5513R serial number. No date, plastic sub. 5513R serial number, and I foolishly sold it. How does it make me feel? That's the one that got away big time. Absolutely. That's the one that got away big time. So the 5513 basically is the plastic Submariner, no date, replaced by the 14060, and you've got the last series, which I always thought was, I had an L serial number 1016, Explorer 1. I know exactly what you have, my friend. I know exactly. I even like what you've done with the Omega. Please promise me you've kept the parts. It's okay to do that sort of stuff as long as you keep the original dial in a little container so it doesn't, you can always slot it back in. It's like putting fancy wheels on a car, but you want to make sure you could always go back to factory default. Okay, so what do I think? So you're asking me what do I think of your current collection? Fantastic. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. I mean, let's be completely honest here. A two-piece collection, you've got a plastic Submariner 5513, that's to die for, investment grade piece. and you got a Speedmaster Man on the Moon. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Early 20s. Man, you were really switched on for a young... I really... One of the biggest mistakes in my life was selling my 5513. I sold it in 2005. That was a biggie of a mistakey. Let me tell you that much. Stupid. Absolutely stupid I was. But let's not dwell on my own stupidity. I think they're great pieces. Now, I even love what you did with the Omega. Don't do that to the 5513. But I love how you did that to the Omega. It's a funky. I love it. I really do love it. That is cool. Cool. Very cool. Now, what you're saying here, you wanted me to review your two. You're saying to me, work with me, not against me. I want you to review my current 2 pieces and also give your thoughts on other suggestions on my next 2 milestone pieces. Your current collection, amazing. Amazing. Don't sell them. My advice to you as a young'un is never ever sell those. Do not ever sell that. They are classic, iconic. See, I had the 1016, that's the Explorer 1 plastic L serial number, and I was sucked in by gold. I wanted a gold date 8. So the 1016s went through the roof, and I ended up selling it and buying a 18038 with a blue dial. A little bit, wasn't perfect. Then I flicked that and got a 18238. And then I ran into some money problems, but I should have just kept the 1016. I mean, that is such a cool, sexy watch. But I wanted a, I wanted, you know, I got to tell you, don't ever do that, okay? So just keep that is a very, very, very valuable piece. No matter how valuable it goes, just hang on to that. So that's really my advice there. What do I think of your 2 dream pieces? They're amazing, but they're a little bit on the super ridiculous. Let me just put this into context. The 5513 is like having a vintage Mercedes R107. Beautiful 560 SL. Last of the last, you know, that series. The Speedy is like having a vintage Mustang. 2 nice cars. Very, very, very iconic, very, very usable. And then you're telling me the next 2 cars you want is a Rolls Royce and a Lamborghini. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, there's nothing wrong with a Rolls Royce and a Lamborghini, but these are so expensive that so hard to achieve those heights. Now, if I were you, I would just try and make them a little bit more realistic. Now, let me explain. Work with me, not against me. What I mean is, instead of getting a Royal Oak 15202 BA, yellow gold, why don't you say, okay, the sweet spot in Royal Oaks, I think, is the Royal Oak was always famous for coming in steel. I'd get a steel one, instead of getting a 15202, which is the boutique, very vintagey cut. It's the original interpretation of the jumbo, of the original jumbo. So I would say, why don't you go for a Royal Oak 15300? That's 39 mil, same size, except it's not as exclusive and ridiculously expensive. It's got a screw-in crown, which is a very good thing, and it's got a second hand, because the 15202 doesn't have a second hand, which is just minute an hour. Pain in the ass! Pain in the ass. So I would go for a second hand Royal Oak Steel 15300. because you've got 2 steel stunners. This would be 3 steel stunners. Okay, so that's what I would do as far as the Royal Oak goes. It's a steel stunner. Stick with it, because I mean that's what the Royal Oak was famous for. It was a steel super luxury watch. That's the whole point of the Royal Oak. Before the Royal Oak, it was only Rolex, and Rolex was never in AP Holy Trinities type of area. So I would go for a 15300 steel Royal Oak, which much more affordable, and it'd give you the same enjoyment, I think. Nothing wrong with the gold one, the 15202 in gold, but oh, expensive. Now, your next thing is the IWC Grand Complication in platinum. Now let's be realistic. Let's be realistic campers here. I would tend to, does it have to be a perpetual calendar chronograph minute repeater? Do you know how expensive that is for those 3 complications? Do you know how dear that is? I mean, that is very scary. So my advice to you would be to say, hey, let's back the truck up. Let's back the truck up. I admit, IWC has some absolutely amazing complications. Like they've got their perpetual calendars are amazing. But I don't want to be rude to you, but that model that you've mentioned is, how would you put it? It's rather, how would you put it? It's rather ridiculous, okay? 239,000 Aussie dollars? My God. Now, come on. Work with me, not against me. See, we can get an IWC. We can get an IWC, I think just a perpetual calendar, right? Because these are good bang per buck, I got to tell you. You can get an IWC perpetual calendar for as little as, well, you could get a Da Vinci perpetual calendar for about 10 grand. But if we say we went for the Portuguese, I reckon the Portuguese is nicer personally. I think in the complicated pieces, the Portuguese is the way I would do it. We can get a very nice, we could get a very nice white gold. I reckon that'd be the way I'd go. White gold, IWC perpetual calendar. How's this? IW 502307. Okay, so it's a perpetual calendar, Portuguese, white metal, 25 US. Now, it's still expensive, but I mean, we're not talking hundreds of thousands. You see what I mean? And is it so much? Well, the other ones, yes, of course they're special. Yes, they are. But I would try and bring it down a touch. I mean, look. It's good to have dreams. Sure, I would love a perpetual calendar chronograph as well. You know, I lusted after a 3970. I thought that was the most perfect because it's a smallish. You've got to be real purist to love it. You know, it's real special. But it's expensive. Very. 100,000 Aussie plus. 100,000 US. I got my world time. Now, I know they're 2 different things, but do I need a perpetual calendar chronograph? Well, yes, it's handy and sexy, but I kind of like the way things worked out for me with the... I like the way things worked out for me with the world time. So I wouldn't be so rigid in my opinion. I'd be a bit more flexible because, look, life isn't about we just save money and then when we're 65 we can buy a C-class Merc. That's not what life... You've got to have some enjoyment along the way. It's not about having... It's the journey. And I think you should reward yourself along the way. You know what I mean? Just reward yourself along the way of life's journey, and that's what we want. We want a little bit of fun. But if we just keep saving to, I mean, these things are so far-fetched. By the time we've saved for it, we'll be, you know, they're just so unobtainable. So I think your collection is amazing. Those two pieces are, it makes me sick, the fact that I don't own one myself. You know, I had one, and the one that got away. That's the nasty. It hurts me greatly that it got away from me. So yeah, I know exactly. That's a great. But I think just bring him down a bit, make it a bit more realistic. That's what I'd do. I'm Archie Luxury. Paul Pluta, the wonderful watch review channel. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, press on the little bell next to your subscription so you can get updates on new videos I release. Paul Pluta, tell me what you guys think of that. Cut!